Foxborough does not always scream. Sometimes it leaves fingerprints. Caleb Lomu getting his deal done, the offensive line being reshaped, a possible defensive strike sitting in the background, Andrew Rupcich popping up where almost nobody expected him, and A.J. Brown arriving with the kind of swagger you only carry when you know exactly what damage you can do. This does not feel like some quiet offseason. It feels like an internal message. Protect Drake Maye, toughen up the defense, and stop waiting for permission. Today's conversation is going to be raw, for real. Caleb Lomu signing his contract is bigger than simple rookie paperwork. It is the Patriots locking one piece onto the board through 2029 with that first-round fifth-year option pointing toward 2030, and it changes how we should look at this offensive line. Because when New England trades up in the draft, takes a 6'6" tackle from Utah at pick 28, and then gets the contract finished before the summer really heats up, the internal message is pretty clear. This kid is part of the plan. He is not just some random gamble sitting on the edge of the roster. And there is a behind-the-scenes detail that a lot of people are passing right over. With Lomu signed, the rookie class is almost completely handled. Only second-round pick Gabe Haku still is not signed. That does not need to turn into drama because second-rounders usually have more room to negotiate guaranteed money, and the Patriots had a similar situation last year when Travion Henderson was the final rookie to sign on July 19th. So there is no need for cheap panic here. But you also cannot ignore it. The front office is clearly trying to get as much settled as possible before camp starts putting pressure on everybody. Now let's get to the real football part. Lomu played left tackle in college, but the setup in Foxborough looks like it is pointing toward right tackle long term. Morgan Moses is still under contract, but he turns 35 this offseason. That is exactly the kind of succession plan serious teams prepare before it turns into an emergency. During OTAs, Lomu already rotated at right tackle with Moses, and Mike Vrabel praised how coachable, big, athletic, and willing to learn he has been. Vrabel also made it clear that he wants the best five protecting Drake Maye, along with a dependable swing tackle. To me, that is the most aggressive part of this whole story. The Patriots are not just filling a hole. They are trying to build a wall, with Campbell on one side, Lomu developing on the other, and a quarterback who cannot keep being treated like a punching bag. If you want to track every signal inside that Foxborough plan, subscribe to the channel right now, because protecting Drake Maye is not some tiny detail. It is the foundation for everything that comes next. Then you get the kind of move that separates an aggressive front office from one that just sits around and watches the league make decisions for it. The scenario being floated has New England sending a 2027 fourth-round pick and a 2028 seventh-round pick to Pittsburgh for Alex Highsmith. I am not treating that like a completed deal. I am treating it like the kind of possibility that should make the phone ring in Foxborough. Because if an edge rusher with real production becomes available at a day 3 price, you do not just stare at the whiteboard waiting for inspiration. Highsmith had 9.5 sacks last season. For his career, he has 45 sacks across 6 years, an average of 7.5 per season. That is not some decorative name for off-season conversation. That is a player who knows how to reach the quarterback, can handle real volume, has lived inside a tough defense, and could walk into a Patriots team still searching for more venom off the edge. Draymond Jones helps. Gabe Hakus brings youth and burst to develop. But a true edge workhorse, the kind of guy who makes an offensive tackle wake up nervous, is still an open conversation. The Pittsburgh side is where the backroom part gets complicated. Nick Herbig got a massive extension. TJ Watt is still TJ Watt. Jack Sawyer is on the roster after a rookie campaign with interceptions. And there has been reporting that Highsmith's locker was cleared out. If the Steelers move that contract, they save $14.5 million. But there is another side to this too. If Aaron Rodgers sticks around for one more run, maybe Pittsburgh decides to keep expensive veterans and push for the playoffs. That is exactly why Elliott Wolf cannot move slowly. If Highsmith truly becomes available, the price might not explode because he has only 1 year left on his deal. Could it be a rental? Sure. But a 4th and a 7th for a 9.5 sack pass rusher is the kind of bet an ambitious defense has to study with hunger. After investing in Drake Maye and trying to reinforce the offensive line, the other side of the equation is simple. Bother the opposing quarterback before he bothers you. And if New England wants to be taken seriously in the AFC again, that kind of opportunity does not sit around waiting for politeness. 21 sacks in 4 playoff games do not just disappear from a serious franchise's memory. 6 of them in the Super Bowl on Drake Maye leave a scar. And when a scar gets that big, nobody inside Foxborough can pretend 2 new names and a smile are enough to fix everything. The offensive line became a priority because the Patriots learned the harsh way that quarterback talent does not survive by itself when the pocket keeps collapsing. That is why the rebuild got heavy. Jared Wilson moved to center after Garrett Bradbury was traded to the Bears. Elijah Vera Tucker came in on a 3-year, $42 million deal to play left guard. James Hudson was signed. Ben Brown got extended through the end of 2027. In the draft, New England moved up for Caleb Lomu in the first round and also added Demetrius Crownover in the 6th. Add undrafted free agents Jacob Reese and John Darius Morgan, plus Mike Onwenu's restructure, and the picture is obvious. This line is not getting a bandage. It is getting rebuilt. But the most interesting part lives underneath the headline. The hidden piece might be Andrew Rupcich, a former Titans guard, 27 years old, the only NAIA player invited to the 2022 Combine, now reunited with Mike Vrabel after barely getting real main roster time in Tennessee. He landed on the Patriots practice squad at the end of last September with almost no noise. But in practices, with Vera Tucker rehabbing the triceps injury that cost him the entire 2025 season with the Jets, Rupcich has been taking snaps with the starters at left guard, alternating with Ben Brown. That does not mean he owns the job. Brown still appears to be ahead. A healthy Vera Tucker was paid to play, but an NFL roster is not built only through headlines. Rupcich has size, 325 pounds, and that fits a very clear Vrabel preference for heavy physical guards who can move people in the run game. Onwenu is 350, Vera Tucker is listed at 341, Brown is listed at 313. That detail matters when the coaching staff wants real force on the inside. So the question for the fan base is practical. Would you rather trust the more established name, or do you want the Patriots to bet on the guy gaining ground quietly? Because after that sack beating in the playoffs, there is no more room for ego on the offensive line. The guy who protects plays. The guy who moves bodies plays. The guy who lets Drake Maye finish January standing upright plays. A.J. Brown leaving Philadelphia and still writing, "The best to ever play here. Always open." On the wall is exactly the kind of thing that irritates opponents, lights up the former fan base, and makes New England smile a little. Yes, there is ego in that. There is chest-out confidence. There is that almost disrespectful level of belief that a true number one receiver carries. And you know what? The Patriots needed some of that. For years, the conversation around New England's offense was too polite, too small, and way too full of excuses for the lack of explosion. Now a guy walks in who did not just produce at a high level, but carries himself like the ball should find him in the biggest moments. Brown had historic seasons with the Eagles, putting up 1,496 yards in 2022, then 1,456 in 2023, plus 106 catches that same year. That is not fan-inflated nostalgia. That is production that changed the standard for the position in Philadelphia. That is why I do not buy the lazy read that the Patriots simply overpaid. And that is the end of the conversation. New England sent a 2028 first-round pick to get Brown, reuniting him with Mike Vrabel, the coach who was in Tennessee when he was drafted in 2019. There is history there. There is backroom knowledge. There is trust in the kind of competitor walking into Foxborough. Brown already showed up at OTAs, already got on the field with Drake Maye, and that image matters. The quarterback does not need more distant promise. He needs a target who wins now, who demands coverage, who makes a safety think twice, who turns third down into grown man football. Of course, there is a debate. Jeff McClain reported that around the Combine, someone close to the Patriots saw A.J. Brown as worth only a third-rounder. So I understand anyone looking at a 2028 first and wondering if the price got too high. But the market does not care what you wish something cost. Dominant wide receivers cost. Urgent needs cost. And when Drake Maye is entering a decisive stage of this project, saving capital just to keep searching for a WR1 later can cost even more. So I want the community's read here. From 0 to 10, how much does this trade change the ceiling of the Patriots' offense? I am pretty high on that scale because Brown is not arriving just to run routes. He is arriving to change the volume in the room, challenge defensive backs, poke at his old team, and remind Foxborough that a big-time offense needs a big-time personality too. My position is simple. I would rather have an aggressive, uncomfortable Patriots team willing to pay the right price than a team that sounds polished in public and acts timid when it is time to attack. Drake Maye cannot wait 3 years for the perfect environment. Vrabel did not come here to manage a lukewarm rebuild. If there is a chance to strengthen the protection, chase edge pressure, and give the offense a star who changes coverage, New England has to push the table. Too much caution costs wins too. And in Foxborough, winning still has to be the main language. If you agree, subscribe, hit the like button, and stay with us in this daily fight for the Patriots.